All right, how's it going, everyone? It's been a while since I recorded and uploaded a video, but considering the situation that we have right now with Bitcoin dumping, I wanted to record a new video for you guys. Gonna update you all on my views on Bitcoin right now. So let's actually start with the lower time frames. I usually don't, look at the lower time frames at all, but I'm doing some research here and writing some articles for Prime Expertise. So I thought maybe, I want to share some of the thoughts and finding in that research. So as always, hit that like if you like the video and subscribe or not. I do care. Right, whatever. Let's see here. We had over the course of a few days, we've had some intensive selling within the crypto market. We got Bitcoin breaking below 70k. We came down and tested the 61k region, almost hit the lows where we came down in the beginning of the year here in the beginning of February. We can see here that on the 4-hour, the RSI is as low, almost as low as it were back on that first dip when we hit the 60k. Now, what's important to note here is that there's this thing where with the RSI, where you have a bullish and a bearish range, right? So I think the bullish range is between 40 and 70, right? So if the now I'm not sure exactly what those numbers are, but I think it's below somewhere between 40 and 70 for the bullish range, and then 60 and 30 for the bearish range, which kind of makes sense because you can see here that in this when we broke out of that consolidation phase, we were in the bearish range of the RSI, and then you kind of had a local range starting. That local uptrend starting right here, which then put the RSI in the bullish range. And then what we're seeing here on that move to the downside, once we kind of broke below the 50% level here and we started trading within this range on the RSI, which obviously is the bearish range of the RSI. This is usually where the RSI fluctuates between in a local bearish range. So what we would want to see here, like this is what I'm thinking here on the lower time frames for Bitcoin, right? I want to see some type of potential bullish divergence coming in here, because I am actually long on Bitcoin at around this level. My stop loss is way down here because I want to make sure it's actually a negative risk to reward trade. I think it's like, or maybe 1 or 1.5 or something like that. But I want to make sure that I have enough room to keep this position open if there's going to be any more wicks to the downside, like the one we've just had on the previous 4-hour candle right here. So what I'm looking for is a move back up into the area between 70 and 72k, where we have the local short reload zone right here. I'm looking at a low time frame local mean reversion play where we're coming into a pocket of demand, and hopefully we'll see Bitcoin have a bounce here. And what I would want to see, like the best case scenario here, is if we see something like this, right, where we have a move to the downside, a big move to the upside, and then we create a higher like a higher low with RSI confirming that higher low as well. Or we see on price a move where we have maybe a move up and then down like this, another up and then down, and we have this downwards trending structure on price, but we actually have a bullish divergence on RSI. Okay, that might be a signal that we're going to get that mean reversion move up to that 70 to 72k region. Now that's on the lower time frames, right? But let's zoom out here and look at what's actually happening here on the higher time frames. Now, in most of my videos, going back till, when we had this break to the downside all the way back in November, October, I've talked about how we're now in a new bear market for Bitcoin, and the level to watch is the level between 80 to 85k. And if you guys have been watching the live streams on the Tradeify Crypto channel, I'll put a link in the description to Tradeify Crypto as well, where I'm streaming, trading the Bitcoin, the crypto markets, right? And there's also a discount code. If you guys want to be joining Tradeify Crypto and trade crypto without risking your money with a crypto prop firm that I'm also working at, and I'm leading their YouTube channel and their live streaming, live trading on YouTube initiatives, you can use my code as well. You get 40% discount on your evaluation. So I'm going to be linking that in the description below as well. Now, you guys know that if you've been watching that channel, you know that we shorted Bitcoin here. And we recently hit that TP. So that was the short that I took on Bitcoin based on the whole idea of the higher time frames being in a bear market and the structure of lower lows and lower highs being so obvious and price coming into that short reload zone. And for you guys who have been following me for a while, when price comes up and hits the area around the 0.618 on the higher time frames, confluent with a clear resistance in a primary downtrend, you want to be short. Okay, you want to be short on that. But now, considering that we had such a big move to the downside, we've had a liquidation cascade here. I then went long around this level right here with a very wide stop loss. I think it's all the way down here somewhere, and I'm just looking for a relative small move up into this region. So we're looking at around 0.7 or 1 R on this one, because I do think that it's highly it's a high probability trade, and I'm happy to have a very wide stop loss just to get up to that level to make sure that I'm not getting stopped out on any wicks or whatever. But if we zoom out even more, do I think that this is the bottom for Bitcoin long term? Not really. I don't really think it is. I mean, I think we're going to come up and perhaps hit that 70 to 72K region. And then I don't think we're going to move lower, right? But the trend is to the downside, and I'm just going to be following that trend. Now, you know the importance of following the primary trend. If you've been following me for a while and you're a friend of the channel, you know that to trade successfully in any markets, you should be aligned with the primary trend. And the primary trend right now is to the downside. Right, let's take a look. Take a look. Take a look. Take a look at gold. I know we have a lot of gold traders watching this channel as well. So I want to make sure I take a look at gold as well. Now there's a lot of levels here. Let's put the daily on here. Okay, so what I'm watching right here is a potential breakdown on gold right here. Now we're obviously testing a very important level. This is on the weekly right here. We're testing a very important level right here, and that level is around 4.4, 4.5 ish, right? Now my long-term portfolio, I'm gonna have another video breaking down my long-term portfolio where I got the holdings of stocks, gold, and Bitcoin in one long-term portfolio, and I will make a new video on that to kind of break down where I am in my holdings for that. But just a quick update, I have transitioned from the S&P 500 only as my stock portfolio into the into a global stock portfolio, where I have it's an allocation across all global stock indices, including emerging markets, and that one is at 100% allocation. And then I have that's 60% of the portfolio, and then 30% of my portfolio is in gold, but I'm only 50% allocated in gold. And the reason for that is because I don't really like what I'm seeing here on gold. And if this level breaks to the downside, I will sell the rest of the gold holdings, and gold will then be at 0% of that max allocation. And then of course Bitcoin is the original allocation for Bitcoin in my long-term portfolio is 10%. That is now at 0%, obviously, because the primary trend is down. And for that long-term portfolio, it's very simple. I am, if the primary trend is bullish, I'm fully allocated. If the primary trend is somewhat uncertain, I'm at around 50% of my holdings. If the primary trend is bearish, I am at 0% holdings. And if this level breaks here, I would argue that the primary trend for gold is now shifting into a potential bearish regime. We also have the clarity edge regime score indicator here, which is signaling that gold is now in the neutral stage right here. And as you can see here, this indicator is fairly good at identifying the bearish market shifts in gold and in the S&P 500, and especially in Bitcoin. Quickly, let's look at the 4-hour time frame right here for gold to give you some ideas on what I'm watching on the lower time frames. So what I'm watching here for lower time frames on gold is, first of all, we see that on the accumulation distribution indicators, sellers have very much taken control as we are trading below that level right here. We're in the bearish structure. Looking at the lower time frames here, we are in a range, breaking the range low to the downside, and I think gold is going to have a significant move to the downside, breaking the range highs, and we might resume that uptrend on gold. So right now, if you're an intraday trader and you're trading gold, this range provides you with very clear levels to manage your risk of. Okay, what else? I want to show you something on the S&P 500 as well. As you know, we have a renewed tension between Israel and the US. I think there's been some attacks, missile strikes from both sides overnight, which has caused some of a risk of move. Now, if you guys are curious to know my thoughts on why the stock market is rallying and the Bitcoin is dumping, let me know in the comments, and I'd love to have a video on that for you guys. So what we have here is a chart of the S&P 500 on the 4-hour, and I want to show you something, right? Now, first of all, the trend is very much alive here. It's very much alive. It's relatively strong, right? One thing I would recommend if you're looking at the S&P 500 and you're trading the S&P 500 and you're looking to get in on dips in an option like this one, first of all, put the if you're trading intraday, if you're trading the 4-hour, put the 20 and the 50 EMA. Same on the daily. They work great on the daily as well, but they will you will be able to get the bigger dips on the daily. So on the 4-hour here, we can see that before any major, like any pause in the trend or any dips on the trend, and what I mean by dips is coming down towards the 4-hour 50 EMA, which is the blue one right here, you do see almost always a bearish divergence between price and RSI. So here you have price making higher highs and RSI making lower highs before you have a dip down to the 4-hour 50 EMA. And this happens all the time, right? And this is exactly where we are right now. Now, does this mean that this is the actual dip to be bought? If you want confirmation, perhaps you want to wait for price to reclaim that 20 EMA in the 4-hour as well, and crucially, you want that RSI to reclaim the 50% level. Remember what I talked about with the RSI having a bullish and a bearish range. Right here, you see that it's within the bullish range right here. But if RSI can't reclaim the 50% level and it starts trading down here, it's in the bearish range. And if price then fails to reclaim the 4-hour 20 EMA and maybe break that low, then maybe we have a bigger dip coming in. And at that point, you might want to be moving to the daily and look at a potential dip down to the 20 EMA, or for a bigger dip down to the 50 EMA on the daily. All right, that's some quick updates on the Bitcoin, gold, and the S&P 500. Hope you guys are all good. I'm gonna try to record more videos like this one, at least on a weekly basis, right? There's a lot going on with my work as an analyst for these different firms and all the work I'm doing. So but I'm gonna try to put some more work into my personal stuff here as well. All right, have a great day, everyone. Take care.